Alright, Scream 7, let's talk about it. No way.
Hello? What's your favorite scary movie?
Okay, first of all, Deadline hasn't been original since 1996.
Wrong answer.
No. The original Scream is probably the best horror movie of the 90s. Absolute classic.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
What? How dare you? Movies are incredible.
I'm sorry. That's the wrong answer.
Yeah? Well, I don't like messy scripts.
Listen, you little bitch, and I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to my review of Scream 7, released in 2026. Going in, my expectations for this one were honestly pretty modest, and that's a little painful to admit because I absolutely adore this franchise. The original Scream is, in my eyes, probably the best horror movie of the 90s and maybe right next to Psycho, my favorite horror film of all time. It's clever, self-aware, meta, and brutally fun.
Everybody's a suspect!
It reinvented the slasher genre, and every time a new installment comes out, you can't help but get excited, even when you know there's a chance it might not live up to the originals. However, going into this one, the behind-the-scenes drama made me extremely cautious. The whole thing with Melissa Dorera and Jenna Ortega being fired or removed from the project created a huge cloud over the film. Not only were these characters central to the past two entries, but their abrupt disappearance disrupted continuity in a way that felt unprofessional and messy. I'm not even going to dive into my personal opinion on the drama itself, but it undeniably colored the expectations of the movie. Can it still be a solid Scream experience without these characters? Could it still feel like a proper continuation? Despite these concerns, I still had hope. I love watching these movies in theaters with my family, and seeing the franchise on the big screen has become something of a tradition for us. We went into Scream 7 hoping for at least a fun, thrilling, and suspenseful ride. The sort of movie you can scream along to, laugh at some of the clever kills, and enjoy the chaos. But walking out, well, it's complicated, because honestly, I generally think this is easily the worst script, the worst production, and the worst possible idea for a Scream movie. And yet, somehow, despite all of its glaring problems, I still found myself enjoying parts of it. There are moments that hit, characters that are fun, and little flashes of the cleverness that made the original film so iconic. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's impossible to ignore how poorly executed so much of it is done. The pacing, the writing, the choices they made with the story, it all feels like a complete misfire. It's maddening because you can tell the potential for something great was there, but it just collapses under its own weight, making it frustrating and entertaining at the same time. Let's start with the positives, because there are some. Neve Campbell returning as Sidney Prescott is by far the biggest win of this film. Her return feels Choi An's an almost celebrity, given how much she anchors the franchise's legacy. She delivers arguably her most emotional performance yet, portraying a mother who isn't just a survivor, but someone grappling with legacy trauma. The layers of fear, strength, and vulnerability she shows elevate what would otherwise be a pretty standard slasher role. There's real depth in her interactions, especially for daughter Tatum, played beautifully by Isabel May. Their dynamic provides the film with a heartfelt core. Mainly fans, and I felt this was the most poignant mother-daughter relationship in the franchise's later entries. It explores communication, protection, generational trauma, and the idea of passing on survival skills in a nuanced way, which is refreshing and grounding amidst all the carnage. The kills are another high point. Ghostface is as vicious as ever, with some of the most brutal, shocking, and creative kills in the entire franchise. The ceiling-swinging disembowelment sequence had the audience audibly gasping, and there's a standout bar kill that's simultaneously horrific and thrilling to watch. While some argue that modern horror leans too heavily on gore, these scenes are carefully staged, visually impressive, and consistent with the heightened, over-the-top style that Scream thrives on. The opening sequence deserves a special mention. Its energy, meta, and tension-filled, taking place in a themed rental house that's fun, nostalgic, and tagged to Scream references. The theater erupted with laughter, gasps, and cheers during those first few minutes. It's perfectly perfectly captures the franchise's spirit while giving longtime fans a moment of nostalgic excitement. This opening alone feels like a love letter to the fans, even if the rest of the movie can't fully live up to it. Kevin Williamson's return as both writer and director, though a complicated history given the production chaos, brings a back-to-basics tone to much of the first two acts. The pacing feels relatively solid early on, and there's a sense that he understands what made the franchise so beloved in the first place.
Wow!
The movie feels like Scream in spirit during these early beats, balancing suspense, tension, and the occasional comedic meta-commentary. The supporting cast is also solid. Isabel May as Tatum has a natural, strong presence. Joel McKay's role as Sidney's husband adds humor and warmth that works well amidst the horror. Courtney Cox returning as Gail Withers delivers the iconic entrance that makes longtime fans cheer, even if her role is limited. Legacy characters like Chad and Mindy get fun moments, bridging the original generation with the new one. And while some of the new faces are hit or miss, a few do inject fresh energy into the film. Thematically, the movie does explore motherhood and trauma thoughtfully. But for all its positives, Scream 7 is weighted down by a long list of issues. First, the movie feels rushed, messy, and at times like a shallow cash grab. The cinematography is inconsistent. Some scenes are flat, poorly lit, or strangely edited. There's a lack of visual cohesion, which is particularly noticeable given how strong the franchise's past films have looked. The narrative is convoluted, plot holes abound, and continuity suffers greatly, especially if the abrupt disappearance of the Carpenter sisters storyline. The Ghostface reveal is easily the most disappointing of the series. The motivation for the killers feels lazy, forced, and uninspired. Elements involving modern technology like deepfake angles or AI references come off as gimmicky rather than clever. The film leans too heavily on nostalgia. Revisiting iconic locations, moments, and references feels less like an homage and more like hollow fan service. While the opening is thrilling, it has virtually no impact on the larger story. Ghostface killing random people in Stu's old house only to fly back to Indiana is ridiculous. It exists purely as spectacle. The scares themselves are underwhelming. Much of the tension feels manufactured, but once made Scream terrifying. The clever pacing, suspense, and unpredictability is replaced by predictable jumps and recycled tropes. Even returning characters like Gale, Chad, and Mindy are underused, reducing the impact of seeing fan favorites on screen.
Killing is making a choice.
And let's not ignore the production chaos. Firing key cast members, director swaps, and script rewrites are all visible in the final product. There's a sense of a movie that's been tugged in too many directions, trying to please everyone but pleasing no one fully. Despite all this, I will say the film is watchable. It's not unwatchable. Die-hard fans will find moments of fun, tension, and nostalgia to enjoy, especially in the opening sequences and Sydney's centric scenes. But creatively, it's timid, uninspired, and a clear step backward from the energy and inventiveness of Scream 6, which dared to take bold narrative and geographic twists with its New York setting. Overall, I was highly disappointed. While Scream 7 delivers a few emotional beats, strong central performances, and some memorable kills, it's ultimately weighted down by messy storytelling, over-reliance on nostalgia, and the behind-the-scenes chaos that clearly impacted the final product. It's slightly better than Scream 6, yes, but only marginally. For a franchise that's defined itself through clever writing, self-awareness, and tight plotting, this feels like a step backward. Final grade, B-.
Disappointed!
So, what did you guys think of Scream 7? Did it meet your expectations? Or did the behind-the-scenes drama show on screen like it did for me? Did you enjoy Neve Campbell's return as much as I did? Did the kills and opening sequence deliver the thrill you hoped for? Let me know your thoughts, reactions, and disappointments. I'm curious to hear what you guys thought about this entry because honestly, it's a mixed bag. Goodbye and stay safe out there, and remember, Ghostface is always watching.